Welcome back to Liberty and Finance. We're recording this live at the Rules Symposium on Natural Resource Investing in Boca Raton, Florida. We've been talking to you for weeks, letting you know about this event. Well, we're here, and we've met Rick in person as well as many of the presenters. I'm with John Black, the CEO of Regulus Resources. He's going to talk to us about how that company, which he is the CEO of, in addition to Alderon that we just also spoke with him about, has an intriguing resource in it that it involves both copper and gold. John, can you tell us more about why a combined or a multi-metallic resource like that is particularly promising to a company, depending on which way the economy and the investment pricing and everything goes?
Yeah, absolutely. As Dunnigan mentioned, my name is John Black. I'm the CEO of Regulus Resources and a geologist by background. And when you set up a company starting out as a junior, you have to determine a little bit what type of company you'll be. And what our group specializes in doing is identifying projects that have potential to be very large copper or copper gold deposits, the type of deposit that a major mining company would be interested in acquiring. So we're specifically looking for really big projects and really economically viable projects with a business plan that we capture that when the metal prices are low or when we identify something that other people don't see. We drill those out, demonstrate the size, and then de-risk them through about a pre-feasibility stage, and then ideally we monetize those by selling them to a major mining company. Regulus is the second company of three companies we've had under our same management team. Our first company, Antares Minerals, we had the good fortune to discover a major copper deposit in southern Peru, which we drilled out and sold to First Quantum Minerals in 2010 for about $650 million. So we have executed our business plan well once. And with Regulus, we have our hands on an outstanding project called Antacorit, which is in northern Peru this time. We also have Alderon Resources, a spin-out from Regulus, which has its hands on a really interesting copper gold project in Argentina that you can also learn more about from other interviews we've done on that. But with Regulus, the Antacorit project, we intentionally were looking for a large copper deposit, and we have the benefit of it. This project also has a large amount of gold with it as well. So it's a project that currently has resources of a little over 500 million tons at about a 0.7% copper equivalent. But in detail, that contains about 8 billion pounds of copper equivalent, which is 5 billion pounds of copper directly and about 4.5 million ounces of gold. So even though it's really dominantly a copper deposit, it has a very significant amount of gold and silver associated with it. It's right on the surface, it's very low strip ratio, and it's part of a much larger deposit that extends on to ground held by our neighbors next door. So it's a project that's very much in the eyes of many of the major mining companies right now, as we're well on our pathway to demonstrating the size and the economic viability. And it's a particularly good time because the majors are beginning to hunt for these type projects.
I mentioned that we're at the Rick Rules Symposium on Natural Resources. Rick has been legendary, well, in general, but also with our viewers, as being a contrarian investor looking for value before others find it. Clearly, your company, having found this resource and taken it on, are convinced that the resource itself, as well as the environment, is setting you up and setting investors up for profitability, or whatever company might look to see to acquire. Can you kind of highlight what you think would maybe be the top elements of your resource there that got maybe Rick's attention?
Well, I think that Rick's attention is I've known Rick for a long time, and I think he knew of our background and the technical strengths in our team, and liked the business model that we set up. And as we started with our first company, Antares, he invested in that group, and he did well. We did well for him on that, and that's a key thing to look for in our business. Is a lot of wise investors like Rick look for groups that have a pattern of success.
Yeah, he always uses the term proven performers
exactly.
on our channel, and he also talks about living legends he's got at his show here, people who have walked into, seen value where others didn't see it, and brought that to fruition, brought that to development for the benefit of, in many cases, the local community benefits, the investors certainly benefit, and so on. Yep. So in your development, in your exploration and development that you're anticipating here, is there any sense of a timeline that you can share with our viewers on when you think based on your business plan, you would anticipate targeting having developed this to a point where you'd be the attractive buyout target that you hope to become for a major.
Absolutely. This is an interesting story because, as I mentioned, we have a portion of the deposit. And then immediately next door to us is a joint venture with three companies. It's Buenaventura, which is a large precious metal producer in Peru, Southern Peru Copper, which is a major copper mining company, and a small family company called Espru. Those three companies together have the ground next door to us, and they're operating an oxide gold mine. They're mining essentially the cap off of the top of this large copper gold sulfide deposit that we have a portion of and they have a portion of. So in a contrarian sense, a lot of groups felt that this was an area that was too complicated on land positions. When we identify these projects, some of them just haven't been recognized for their potential yet. Some of them are covered up. Other ones, in this case, if this deposit hadn't had the fragmented land nature of it, it probably would already be a major open pit copper mine. And so we saw an opportunity to get into the district, acquire a portion of the deposit, demonstrate the full potential of what we have. And now we're in a situation where the next logical step is a consolidation of the district moving forward. So it's one that's kind of tricky right now because a lot of the work that we're doing is interacting with the neighbors and discussing possibilities, how the project or the district could be developed for the benefit of all of us. But most of that's done under confidentiality purposes. So we can't really demonstrate a timeline on that. But what I can point out is that the mine next door runs out of their oxide ore in about 3 years. And so it's an outstanding opportunity to make a transition, what we call a brownfields transition, from an existing oxide gold mine into a much larger copper gold sulfide mine, the type of mine that would have decades of mine life, 30, 40, 50 years. And those type of projects, we refer to them as multi-generational mines. They're mines that provide benefits for the communities and the surrounding areas and the governments for a very long period of time. Those are really the type of mines that the major miners are looking for. We have a lot of interest from a number of the companies. The typical pattern is that when we're at the stage we're at right now is major mining companies will sign confidentiality agreements and begin to monitor what we're doing and moving forward. Just by virtue of that name, confidentiality agreement, means I can't reveal how many or who they are on it. But I can reveal in our case the level of interest based on some of our backers, some of our participants. So we have a major fund out of San Francisco called Route 1 that has supported us. Like Rick, we've done well for them in the past and they believe in what we're doing. Route 1 is a large fund out of San Francisco. They employ or use a lot of university endowment money as they're investing, so they're very careful about who they choose. They also look for teams that have had success and do things correctly. So they're a good, strong backer for us moving forward. But more importantly, Cisco Gold Royalties has recently put quite a bit of money into us to work going forward in exchange for having access to some royalties on portions of the project. Great group, a group we've worked with closely for a number of years and are quite pleased to have them on. And then in just January of this year, we announced an agreement with Rio Tinto. And Rio Tinto is chosen as one of the companies where they're employing some new technology they have called Newton technology, which is a technology that allows them to leach primary copper sulfides. Traditionally, copper sulfides, you've had to go through a process called concentration where you concentrate the minerals, you produce a mineral concentrate, you sell that to a smelter. It's a conventional way, it's the way most copper has been produced, but it's energy intensive and water intensive and capital intensive. And Rio Tinto believes they've developed heap leach technology which would allow us to process the mineralization much more cheaply, which means more profitably moving forward. And it has some tremendous ESG consequences to it.
That's what I was going to ask you, because there's been some press recently with some ecological concerns around Rio Tinto's, some of their older operations, that sort of thing. But this process, what are the considerations that might affect? Because we mentioned the positive effect on local communities, sometimes of jobs for one thing, increased standard of living, sometimes there's education or housing or things that come along, medical care that comes along with that. But what about the ecological considerations of this?
Well, one of the things that we've kind of mentioned that the importance of copper in that we're moving into a world where we're attempting to use less carbon for obvious purposes, considerations about climate change. And that means a lot more electrification of almost all aspects of what we're doing, which will drive the demand for copper. That's why the major mining companies are very much focused on putting their hands on new copper projects moving forward. Just as a background for that, an eye-opening statistic to me is that we'll need as much copper in the next 22 years as we've used throughout history if we meet the climate change goals or the electrification goals that are being set out by major countries around the world. And for us to deliver that amount of copper means that there's going to have to be a big focus on getting new copper projects up and running. And that's quite a challenge for us, the permitting timelines and how you go forward with that.
A couple of interviewees who we've had on our channel have said they don't think it's even possible. In other words, we need all possible options. We need to be trying to press forward in all opportunity areas, that kind of thing. Even if we do that, we'll probably come up with a copper shortage. We
probably will, which will mean there's technically, in my opinion, there's no shortage of copper. There's an inability for us to produce it quickly enough to meet the demand. And what will happen is the price will go up, which is very good news for a company like ourselves.
And investors in the company.
Sitting on a very large deposit right now.
Yeah.
But technology like this, what it'll allow us to do is to develop projects more rapidly and more environmentally responsibly as well, because copper has made a shift now to be viewed as a green metal, a metal that's fundamental, quite frankly, for us to address the issues we have about climate change in the world. But the mining of copper is still viewed as a dirty process. And one of the things that's really exciting to me right now is that what Rio Tinto is doing with their Newton technology are developing ways that we can mine more quickly and more responsibly, use less water, use less energy, make the mining part of it less impactful as well, which contributes to the overall improvement of the environment as we move forward. So I'm pretty excited to be part of this. I think we're very fortunate that they've identified our project as a great place to apply this to, and I think it's a good indication of the level of interest that we have from major companies in what we're doing.
So for those of our viewers who are typically interested in being contrarians, but also investing in real things that are based on something solid, and that's why we're here at the Natural Resource Symposium. For those who want to find out more about
Absolutely.
Regulus Resources.
Yeah, please go to our website. There's a lot of information on our website about the project and who we are and how we work. Also, just speaking to that contrarian nature of this, is it's easy for many of us to identify that there's a major shift in the world now as we move to a less carbon intense. The trickier thing is to identify how do you invest in that. And you can see things that have already run. A good example would be lithium, where the price has taken off. We all wished we had invested in certain lithium producers a long time ago, or we all wish that we had invested in Tesla before it really took off. One of the things that Rick preaches, and one of the reasons he's interested in companies like us, is trying to find companies before they've taken off. But when you look at Regulus Resources or our sister company Aldebaran, the benefit you have in both companies is we already have our hands on a large deposit in each case. But the market hasn't fully recognized the value on that. One way to take a look at that is we're currently valued at less than 1 cent per pound of copper equivalent in the ground. Typically, these projects, when they're acquired by major mining companies, they pay 4 or 5 cents per pound in the ground to buy these. That was our experience in our first company when we sold that. And if metal prices take off, chances are they'll be able to pay even more than that moving forward. So there's a lot of leverage, a lot of opportunity, but you have that security of already having the bird in hand. You already have the deposit in hand. Whereas some exploration stories are great explorationists, but they're depending still on finding the deposit. So I think you have the safety of something in hand already, but not full recognition of the market, of the potential value, and quite frankly, the necessity for copper that we will need in the world.
As we continue to hear, folks, remember to look in the description of this video. You'll find information on the stock information, the information on how to get a hold of Regulus Resources. And John, thanks for coming back on Liberty and
Great,
Finance.
thanks, and please reach out to us and contact us. There's plenty of ways on our website on how you can talk to us. We're more than happy to speak with anybody about our companies or the copper industry in general, or just what you look for in exploration companies.
And folks, we wish you were here, but if you're watching us remotely, you can still get some of this great information from some of the presenters and exhibitors here at the Rural Symposium, and maybe we'll see you here next year. John, it's great meeting you at the symposium.
Thanks, Dunnigan. Take care.
This is Kaiser Johnson with Liberty and Finance, and this is the Miles Franklin Weekly Special for July 31st through August 6, 2023, while supplies last. This week we featured 2023 1/10 ounce Gold Eagles at just $37.50 over melt. The Gold Eagle was first released in 1986 and has been one of the most popular gold bullion coins in the world, providing incredible recognizability and investor trust. The 1/10 ounce Eagle is additionally sought after for its high degree of flexibility and liquidity. Like the 1 ounce Eagle, the 1/10 ounce Eagle is 22 karat gold strengthened with copper. It's 1/10 of a troy ounce of gold, comes 50 to a tube, 5,000 to a box, and is available at just $37.50 over melt while supplies last. Finally, the Gold Eagle is IRA eligible. And if you'd like to learn more about a precious metals IRA, call us and we'll be happy to help you in that process. To order our specials or any of the many other options we have available, call us at 1-888-81-LIBERTY. That's 1-888-815-4237. We're available after hours and on weekends, and we look forward to speaking with you.